Hi there. Happy Saturday night for those watching live. Let me go this way. Try that. Yeah. Good evening, Linda Justice. Hi, Jack. Richard Lyon. Hello, Jack. Happy Easter weekend. Yes, it is. It is Holy Saturday 2024. We'll conclude our program, The Easter Story, on this edition of Worldwide Ramblings. Worldwide Ramblings. We did an impromptu live broadcast yesterday afternoon around 1:30 East Coast time, and it was quite successful. It was announcing the new Elvis series that has begun, and right after that, I loaded this series, and it's doing nicely. It's not on fire, but this is one of those videos I think that will continue to grow, and we'll back it up because that was just part one. That was just pat one. I packed the cat in the yard and I came in here to the studio. That's what I do. That's what I do. I think there's a little New York in there, Richard. I think I'm mixing up my states, but I'm always in a state of confusion. Hi, Jimmy, maybe. Hello, Jack, and everyone. Barbara Kendall, hi, welcome. Carrie Doxson is here. Hello. Sam Sammy. Hello, Jack. It's about time. It's about space. It's about three men in the strangest place. Blair Underwood is here. That's what I'm calling you, right? Blair, one spot. You only have one spot, Blair? I find it hard to believe. You're from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Michael G is here. Hello, Jack. Bob 1974. Hello, Jack. Karen Gavnon is here. Hello. And looks like Kathy Beaver. Are you related to Justin? Hi, how are you? Happy Easter, says Karen. So, well, we're off to a nice bang here. 25 people watching. We're doing it earlier than usual. It varies, sometimes 10:30, sometimes 11. We'll be on next weekend, and then the weekend after that is Polka weekend. So we will try to do a remote. In other words, I'll try to load a pre-recorded video from the Villa Roma Resort. I'll definitely do some taping while I'm there and find a way to get it on eventually. They don't like you taping the dancing and stuff like that. Jimmy requests that you don't tape the dancing too much at Villa Roma. That could be Villa Roma policy too. I don't know, but there's plenty of things to tape, and we'll give you a feel of it. I hope. Wouldn't it be fun if somebody is signed up to go or is going to sign up at the last minute at Jimmy Sturr, STURR, jimmysturr.com, and use their credit card on Monday and join us? That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. You'll have an incredible time if you go to Polka Weekend. Plenty of other chances to see Jimmy this summer. He's in his fourth quarter like I am, but he's jamming. He's jamming. Here's somebody new, Ron Gilbert. Hello from Texas. Hi, Ron. What part of Texas are you in? My kids live kind of in the Austin area. Elizabeth Gilbert is here. Do you know each other? I have a feeling, yes, since you're both from Texas. Hi, Elizabeth. My mom's name was Elizabeth. Um, Elizabeth Mary. Elizabeth Mary Hennessy was her maiden name, from Liverpool, England. Some weird stuff going on in Alberta. Arresting a pastor, huh? Maybe you can send me some info in my email, Jack the Fair Guy, FAIR, Jack the Fair Guy at gmail.com. You're free to talk about it here too, of course. Um, but you know what's going on in Canada with Justin Trudeau. You might want to find yourself a whole other country because I have a feeling he's going to be hard to get out of office. He's going to be hard to get out of office. Just a feeling I have. And, this is what happens once, we find ourselves with a dictator. Before you know it, you've lost a ton of civil rights and you're fighting to get them back. The very people, and this is not going to be a political show, not tonight. Um, I'm going to be doing more afternoons. I probably do something Monday or Tuesday. So have your notification bell on and you'll know when we're on live, your time, whatever your time may be. Mine right now is about 5 minutes after 10 o'clock, or I should say 7 minutes after 10 o'clock. East Coast Daylight Savings Time. Doris Sutton Schroeder, hi, Jack and everyone. Welcome. The bus lady is here. Love your show. Thank you. You're becoming a regular bus lady, and I'm very thankful for it. Oh, is this a Polish name, Teresa? I'm not good at that. I was thinking about doing a polka show because I love the polka, but I'm not as knowledgeable as I really should be. I would be more of the polka fan that likes the American style of polka music the best that Jimmy plays. But Johnny Karras, his lead vocalist, who's with him some of the time, lives down in Daytona Beach, Florida. Um, he can sing all the Polish songs too. So Jimmy can sing some Polish as well. Hi, Jack. Teresa here from the south of San Antonio. Have you ever been to John Hagee's church over there? We know our friend who lived right in this city, who we went to school with, Deidre, is living in San Antonio now. I'm not sure if it's east, west, north, or south. William Murphy. Oh, yeah, there's a name. Bill Murphy. I worked with several Murphys in my lifetime. One was Seamus and one was Sean. One at McDonald's and one when I was pretending to be a peace officer for 19 years for the city of New York. Yeah, I was an actor pretending to be a peace officer. Once in a while, it would be perfectly obvious I was just acting. Jimmy, maybe what are you doing, my bro? What are you doing, huh? I'm glad you do. Glad you're here, Susan Safadi. Happy Holy Week, Jack and friends. We'll close with the Easter story tonight. I might try to play Jake Judy if he comes in tonight. He was mentioning the Don Francisco song. Check it out on Spotify or whatever platform, YouTube Music. They'd like me to say that, I'm sure. Check out Don Francisco. He's alive. Did I know about that song? Oh, yes, I did. I was on contemporary Christian music for 11 years. But even before I started playing any contemporary Christian music, my first wife, Mary, told me about that song. And she played it for me. I think she had the album. And it's a great song. I might be able to get away with doing a pre-recorded video. They'll take it out live if I try to do it live. Oh, I hate that, but it's just the way it is. Vera is here. Hello, Jack, from Austin, Texas. Yes. How's things in Austin, Texas? Is the crime okay over there? There were some problems. It's the purple area. But my son is quick to tell me that's just for like a couple of streets by the university. 6th Street. I don't have to tell you about this, Vera. 6th Street. Stay away. It's there's a lot of homeless there. There's lots of stuff there. And you got to be careful in that area. My son drove me right down at one time when I was visiting in Austin. I should be there. I will be there this year. There's no doubt about it. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll be in Austin. Absolutely. Julie Backus is here. Hello, Jack and family. Love the new Elvis series idea. Thank you very much. I'm going to read some comments. So I got some very nice comments. Thoughtful comments, and I appreciate that so much. And I also got those couple of comments that I knew I would get. That guy 6, not that girl, but that guy 6. Inspiration, motivation, humanity. All right. Inspiration, motivation, humanity. Yes, you have to be inspired or you won't do it. Motivation, to put feet to your faith, feet to your life plan. And you didn't say humility, you said humanity. In other words, keep in mind your fellow soldiers on this quest, your fellow brothers and sisters. Some of them may not be brothers and sisters. I don't think anyone automatically becomes a child of God. Everyone's a creation of God. But I think the sons of God and the daughters of God are those who have accepted Christ. I'm not going to preach a sermon here, but I find that interesting, though. Um, I could miss something good, so if you wanted me to see it, you might have to repeat it because it's going by fairly fast. I think I've got just about everybody though. So yeah, hit that like button. 16 have already, and 45 watching that I know of. I'm never sure how accurate that is. And hello, replay crowd. Always a bigger audience in the replay crowd. I'm wearing my lei tonight in honor of my friend Bob and Noreen that are, I think, still in Hawaii. I think they are. It was a 10-day trip, so my math tells me they may still be in Florida. And Hawaii, guess what I have on my mind? I always do have Florida on my mind, but there are times I wouldn't really want to be there, like hurricane season and when it's 109 degrees, you know. Jack, you're a good man. Well, you don't know me that well. And it would make a great leader of Team Humanity. No, no, I wish I could say that's true. I don't know what Team Humanity is. Um, Feel free to email me that. I'm saying you can't comment here, but um, no, I'm not a leader. I'm someone who needs to be a follower better. I need to be a better follower, a better disciple. You know, I just have to be honest about that. Most people are in that boat. Most people will die in the baby stage of Christianity to a degree. There's not too many mature souls. I've noticed that since I was born again in 1984. I noticed that there's not a whole lot of mature souls, and some of the ones that you thought might be tend to be scoundrels, or they are just, repressing sin and repressing sin and repressing sin to one day it explodes, and they're causing a scandal in the church or whatever. Whatever. I'm an entertainer. You made me think of that song by Billy Joel. I am an entertainer, been all around the world. I'm not going to say that line. I can't on Holy Saturday. I'm not in the first verse there. So that was from his LP, his third album, Street Life Serenade. Good songs on Street Life Serenade, but it wasn't a big hit. The Entertainer was it's funny, it's a song about, trying to keep on the charts. Like I'm trying to keep relevant on YouTube, trying to keep my views up, for a whole lot of reasons, I want to be relevant and I want this to sublet my retirement income. I don't want to have to go do something else. Uh, Most of you know that my 95-year-old gentleman that I was taking care of for a year and a half passed away. So that's that. And he's a good man, and I believe he's in the presence of God. But now more than ever, I need this. So it's nice to be able to come to the house that you live in and come up here and use skills that you learned back in 1974 at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting and then started finally in radio in 1977. I'm a slow starter. And, to use those skills now in a whole different venue. I mean, I would have been tickled pink if I knew in 1977 when I was playing country music that I knew little about. I knew Johnny Cash and that, but I didn't know Mo Bandy. I didn't know, and it was starting to change at that time to a more modern sound, a little bit, not like today. But I would be tickled pink to know that in this, when I was 68 years old, way on down the line, that I would be using my skills and talking into a microphone in my bedroom. My setup here in my bedroom, as so many people do, a lot of people that you see are broadcasting from home and you don't always know it. You can tell Sean Hannity's not broadcasting at Fox in New York anymore because he never has a guest. They're always on. They're always on the screen. I don't know what his setup looks like because they've never done a wide view of it. It's just him right there. And so if President Trump, who's a neighbor of his, wants to come on, or anybody else that's down in Florida, Tucker gets guests when he's at his Florida home. Well, then I don't know what kind of setup he has down there, but he does his radio show in one area, then comes, I don't think it's the same area, and then he goes to his TV section of the house. That's pretty cool right there. I'll tell you what. Um, Carlene Brown, hello from Florida. What's the temperature there, Carlene? I think about Florida every single day. Kim, who's not a lackey, says good evening. She is, but she isn't. Good evening, Kim. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You've got one of those names people have fun with, like Willard. And um, sometimes when somebody tells you their name, you just say, "Oh, I'm sure you had to deal with a lot in school." So, so Billy Joel's third album didn't really do that well, and then he went to Turnstiles, and he had some great songs on there, like "New York State of Mind." Right? I mean, how many people covered that song, "New York State of Mind"? Great album, some great album cuts. Not a lot of hits on there. And after this is his fourth album, he's on Columbia, right? And they told him, Billy, we're going to give you one more chance for a real big album, one more chance. And if this one doesn't work, the next one doesn't work, you're going to we're going to have to drop you. We're going to have to drop you. And this is after Piano Man, his signature song, but that was really only his biggest hit, and subsequent songs. But heck, on the FM side, they were playing cuts from Turnstiles all the time. He had already proven himself in a sense. So he had one more chance to come up with a really big album. And so then he got to work like never before, and he wrote the album, The Stranger. The Stranger made Billy Joel a legend. There were so many hits off that album. And he could suddenly play Madison Square Garden and all the big arenas in California and Texas and what have you. And, every album after that was a gem, was a gem. Alice is here. All the young girls love Alice. Um, Gail George from Tennessee. Well, hello, howdy. How are you, Gail? What's going on tonight with you? I won't ask you the same questions as I probably asked you last week, because I think I know what I asked you. And you never answered. You never answered. Could be somebody else. Who knows? Daytona Beach, huh? Well, you're neighbors with the great Johnny Caris, a polka legend. He is Jimmy Sturr's main vocalist, has been for like 45 years. And he'll be coming our way, I'm pretty sure, to Polka Weekend in Callicoon. Uh, this time, 2 weeks from now, we'll be in the nightclub, and we'll be watching they have a nightclub show. Could be a comic, could be it's usually a comic, or it could be, yeah, it's going to be a comic. We had Uncle Floyd one year. Do you remember Uncle Floyd? Um Jeez. Richard, do you remember Uncle Floyd? You watched the Uncle Floyd show when you were growing up in Queens? Alice Warner, I almost missed this tonight. Well, we're starting early, so I haven't started any content yet. But this is not a heavy content show tonight. I'm going to be reading some comments from our uh, our new series. Our new series uh, proposing the question: Did Elvis fake his death? It's going to be multi-part series. Part one was released just yesterday, and it's about 1,200 views right now. Not exactly on fire, but not a dud. And I think it's going to grow. I feel it's going to grow. Oh, my son here. He's leaving. Oh no, no, Easter Sunday. He's got to drive the truck because he's not loaded. See, so he's not going to have any Easter there. But he's had a few days there. So I'm telling him I'm live now. I miss him. Want to see him soon. Why has Bob E. not done any songs last 2 weeks? We talked about that a little bit. All I heard was that there was a guy named Randy who's responsible for loading that part of the service. Um, I think Richard. See, I'll still respond to your questions here on that topic, even though we're kind of taking a break from the pastor, giving him a break. Um, um, I know there are probably well, with any pastor who has a big following, he wants it to be edited properly, and will decide what he wants left in and left out. The idea that he left it all up to somebody else is ridiculous, and so there might be a guest on there he wouldn't want on the air for some reason. So I don't know. I don't know, Richard. Um, we'll see what happens for Easter Sunday tomorrow. I assume they're having service, right? Alice Warner says he is risen. Amen, amen, amen. If he be not risen, we might as well, forget about it. Forget about it. Jay Masters. Well, see, I come on early and we get Father Jay back. Yes, Father is here. Hello, 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 Jay. Uh, my son, I just heard from him in real time. He's got to get back in the truck tomorrow morning. He's had a few days home, but that's the life of a trucker. You know how it is, Jay. Most people get to go home at the end of their day. You guys don't when you're out there. I understand some people just do day routes, but they're no fun either. You got to get up at like 4 o'clock or earlier in the morning, and you're probably going to be bringing things, wheeling things in, pallet jack, or through a regular dolly. Hello, dolly. Hello, dolly. On the road, Jack, huh? Me and you? No, I thought you were going to say me and you and a dog named Boo. Me and your son are keeping America moving. Amen. Amen. So important. What are they doing, Jay? Talking about electric trucks, requiring that new trucks have to be electric by 2027. Hopefully, this man will be out of office and we won't have to worry about this insanity. These trucks, they can't go the distance is the thing. We don't have the technology for truckers that go thousands of miles. They'll spend so much time off the road, it'll be a catastrophe. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it. We really have to pray, everybody, that there's a leadership change, because this country, every day, more rights are taken away, more outrageous things are presented. Oh, but it's not politics tonight. Maybe on Monday or Tuesday when we come on in the afternoon. If you're on the road then, Jay, you can check me out. I was very encouraged by the response in the afternoon, and I realized that the live shows are my second go-to thing that people seem to respond to well. Um, Elvis, and when we speak of the pastor, but I'm kind of taking a break from that unless major breaking news comes out of his mouth. Cheryl Everhart, hi Jack and family. Brenda Noyce is here. Susan Safati. I like what Elvis said about the rock and roll, the Tanks, rock and roll. He's so witty. I think you're referring to a response he made in that they showed on the Bill Bixby special, the part that I showed. Next Friday's show, we'll try to release these on Friday, because that's a good time, to be honest. And got to get Dandy Andy in here to help me load the clips and stuff. You'll hear some stuff about Priscilla. So some boo boos and stuff that she has made, and we won't be doing any Priscilla. I won't be doing any Priscilla bashing. But we'll just be telling you some of the story that pertains to Priscilla. Jay is getting buzzed. You mean by that there's like these black crows flying around your chrome dome? Well, you got a little hair, right? Walking to, he looks good that way. Some people don't. I would not. Walking to the bar across the street later. Oh dear. Oh dear. Now, You might want to get your liver enzymes checked there, Jay. Be careful. Hi, Judy Wright. And Betty Wright, the cleanup woman. Stefan is here. Hi, Jack from Quebec. I'm probably going to upload a karaoke video by the end of tonight. Jay Masters has a YouTube channel, so check that out after we're done. I still have the original broadcast of the Bill Bixby Show on VHS. Cool. And we'll use more of that down the road, but check out our first installment of what the heck exactly did I call the title? This is what happens when I don't write it down, talking about whether Elvis may have faked his death, part one, the Bixby investigation, something like that. And going to read some of the comments that we've been getting from that. But, in the past, it's been mostly me showing occasional pictures, either Google photos or off my phone, which drives people crazy. So now we're going to be loading more and more actual video clips. But mostly right now pertaining to Elvis Presley. So yeah, we'll do that. So welcome. We got 55 and 34 have liked so far. Please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do. After we complete the broadcast here on this Holy Saturday, it'll be available immediately, most likely, in the live section of this channel, the Virtual Church of the Disillusioned. Those of you watching the replay, just comment right there. We'll interact with you there. Other people check that out besides me as well. Deborah Lake must be here because they're saying hello. Hi, Deborah. Deborah was telling me that after her treatment on Friday, she was able to go to dinner, but there's always other family trouble going on as well. So keep Deborah Lake in your prayers. Hi, Becca. Hello, Jack and family. Welcome. You'll be listening in the background, Jack, going to clean up my messy room before I head out. Yes, cleanliness is next to godliness. And don't forget, Jay, since you're a trucker now, you probably saw this, right? This is what Karen got me for my birthday on the 21st. Mando. Get some Mando, Jay, and this way, I know what happens sometimes. You got to use the baby wipes and stuff like that when you can't get to the Love's truck stop. I understand. This will help you smell like Grandma's cedar chest in those important places. Yes. I still use the regular stuff for under me arms. Wife wants to know how you came up with the name of your show, the church, the Virtual Church of the Disillusioned, Depressed, and Downtrodden. I didn't really think it out as well as I wish I had. Back in that time, I was calling myself Pastor Allen. I knew I wasn't a real pastor per se, but I was going to be like a video pastor because, that's what they do these days. There are people like Mike Winger that's like a video pastor. And I wanted to reach out to someone who was just sick of church games, that was very flawed like myself, and thought, well, since I'm so flawed, I might as well just give up the whole thing. So, some of my early raps were more spiritual, and I still do them, but they don't get big hits. So we're going for someone who's depressed, feeling that there's no sense trying again because they fail all the time. They're disillusioned by Christianity and all the things they've seen, perhaps. Speakers, preachers on TV that they think are kind of charlatans, and they're downtrodden by life, So that was the idea. And then I realized that my walk was not good enough to call myself pastor anything, that I'm more of someone who shares as God leads me to share. But I don't want to label myself a teacher because they will be held to a higher account. And I've already got enough to answer for. So as the late Carmen Licciardello, Carmen, the Christian singer, had a song out, parody of the catchphrase for the beer that nobody wants to drink anymore, except Jay. Uh, he called the song "This Blood's for You." This blood's for you. The blood that we just remembered on Good Friday, the crucifixion of Christ. I hope that answers your question, my friend from Palm Beach. David Staten is here. Good evening from Cottonwood, Arizona. Is it very warm there? Are you experiencing that dry heat yet? We know some people, well, we know at least one that lives in Phoenix. And who else am I not getting? I think we're doing pretty good here. 73 watching. This is Worldwide Ramblings, and we have a new video series that we've begun. Part one is out there. It's only 20 minutes, and it talks about we're laying down the early. This is like a prequel. We're laying down the early part of the Elvis story. Did Elvis fake his death in 1977? The Joes are just say no and what have you, don't want to deal with a plethora of evidence that he did. And so you had some very insightful comments. And Katina wins the comment award, but right on her heels is Randy. So it's neck and neck. Katina from Team SWAT, Katina and the Waves. I know it's really Katrina and the Waves. I get that, but I just like to, it reminds me of that great song, Walking on Sunshine. If you're feeling down, stare at a clown. That's from Joe Dirt. Anybody see that movie? Anyway, she says, I love the fact that you are going back to the beginning, so to speak. I don't know much about this because I was 5 when Elvis left the scene. It was all very interesting to me. Um, and it will show how, and she puts this in quotes, crazy we really are. Speaking of possibilities, yes, when you present all this information, as we're going to be doing in this series, we lay the ground work. It won't be for those who just want to say he's not Elvis, he's this, he's that, he didn't fake his death and all that. They're not going to change. Many of them don't even believe that. They're the Elvis protectors, or they're the okay. I agree with you, but don't say it. It's none of your business, and keep quiet about it. I'll deal with that too. Um, so I know what you're saying. This is not like me saying something like, "Don't be offended if you believe that Michael Jackson is alive," but you you have to understand, Elvis has more information in this area, more of a foundation of information, more backup evidence, possibilities, so-called coincidences than anybody else. I mean, when you get to like 50, 60, 70, it seems like there's got to be some smoke along with, there's got to be some fire with all these billows of smoke. It's a joke. People think at 89, he can't be alive. And well, I have in-laws that are 90 and 91. My father-in-law is 90 and still doing very well. My dad and mom are 84 and 85 and still active. So thank you, Katina, for those encouraging words. TEB 3034 says Elvis was a genius. I could believe he did that. In other words, he could believe that he faked his death. I would say he was a musical genius. He was a vocal genius who knew how to alter his style to accommodate the kind of music that he was singing. He was very influenced by the Black church in the early days, and he was very influenced by a number of artists, Jerry Lee Lewis, and some of the early sounds. But he also came up with a signature sound that fit him, and there was no one that did it quite like him. So I would say he's a musical genius, a genius in all areas. Well, I think that the deal he made with Colonel Parker for 50-50, which turned out to be really more than that, was not a good deal. He should have had better lawyer. And also not realizing for quite some time that Colonel Parker was coming up with one excuse after another not to tour outside of America, and why that might be, and why that might be. It took him a long time to realize that, but he loved America. He was a flawed sinner, though, like all of us. When you have women falling at your feet, temptation will come a knocking and all that. But just there's nobody like him. I said this on the Friday show. There's nobody, because I think it was probably someone younger that was saying, "Well, what is all this about Elvis, Elvis, Elvis?" Anyway, when you factor in everything, I don't care if it's John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, whether it's anybody you can mention, they don't have what Elvis still has in 2024. Is it going to die off? Probably. We'll be dead, so we won't see it. But um, the looks, the charisma, the staying power, the incredible staying power. So he is one of a kind. One of a kind. Peter James. Well, I'm going to have to invite you to Easter dinner. I was absolutely mesmerized watching this new Elvis series. Can't wait to see part two. Can't wait till part two is out. Thank you so much, Peter James. Randy says, Randy from North Carolina, under the name Tammy Biggerstaff. I've seen Bixby's program several times. Probability of coincidence have a multiplying effect. Say two coincidences may make the odds of fact 10 to 1. Three coincidences may jump the odds of fact to 100 to 1, shoot it up to 100 to 1, and so on. While four coincidences might shoot it up to 100 to 1, and so on. Elvis faking his death has a couple of dozen factual coincidences, stratosphere odds of probability. Once more, you do the math. And happy Easter, says Randy. In other words, I think what Randy is saying here, with every so-called coincidence, it becomes increasingly unlikely that there is nothing to this story. We have listed so many oddities, possibilities, strange happenings, visual and voice similarity. Some would say visual and voice uh, being identical. Um, that it's near impossible there is no Elvis link. Now, in this series that we have just begun, we are reviewing all the early evidence gathered, and we'll work our way through it. And then that could lead to the first Zoom interviews. If we can find the right people, we, of course, would be looking for people for this topic first. So, that is what we'll be doing. See if we can get them to come on. It'll be pre-recorded, though. It'll be pre-recorded. Would I ever do it live? Perhaps, but I'm not ready for that. Jim Cowan, we love you. Elvis, keep up the great preaching, says Jim Cowan. Is Elvis preaching now or something? Did I miss something? See, I'm always the last to know. Thank you, Jim. Rush Hour Rush. Well, hi, Rush. Great video. Thanks. He's I assume he is in Germany, and he has a timestamp of 10:51 p.m. when he wrote that. Thank you, Rush. I hope you're watching this live or in the replay. I don't know what time it is in Germany right now. one of the users with a whole bunch of letters and numbers after it says, I have seen all this before. That's why I say, I love when they say that. I have seen all this before. That's why I say, if it is Bob Joyce, if Bob Joyce is Elvis, it's his business. And he goes on like that. See, when somebody puts that in there, as I have said before, um, I have said all this before. Yes, you keep going on, whether I'm talking about Elvis or the pastor from Benton, Arkansas, or probably Facebook groups, and you keep saying the same thing over and over. Well, really, that's kind of lazy. It's not enough to keep repeating the same point that you feel is so precious over and over again. Give more of a foundation. If the idea is that okay, there may be some truth to what you're saying, but it's his business. Well, what do you say? If it's not like someone that maybe Elvis Presley is living a quiet life somewhere, in South Dakota, and they have a small store that they enjoy, and they live their life there. No, this is a man. Uh, the man that we have talked about began a worldwide ministry on YouTube in 2011, and so it's not on the down low. It's not on the down low when you have thousands and thousands of people watching you all over the world. So, and then someone just piped in and said, "Leave him alone." The Elvis protectors, the Elvis deniers. They don't really probably watch any of the videos. Whether I'm talking about Elvis or I'm talking about someone who could be him, they come on and say the same thing, and they probably do this again in various other places. In various other places. So, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? Um, I have to stay in my lane because when I get out of my lane, my audience lets me know it's a bridge too far. It's a bridge too far. Um, this is a crazy business that I entered here at the in the lower echelon capacity, because there's big voices out there that are fighting to be relevant and fighting to keep up their views and what have you. So I'm just doing that, and I can't do videos on American history or something like that because I don't have the audience for it. I have to get a whole new audience to do something like that, and then I have to get a whole lot better with the editing and what have you. There's a bazillion things for them to watch on people that actually live the experience. In some cases, we're talking about retired military people, retired broadcasters that had a military background in the past, so they can make it compelling. So they're not interested in me for that. So, any new people? I'm just looking. People are talking amongst themselves. And Paul, my man, let me see, from Wales is here, right? Have I got that right? Paul, because there's two people. There's also Lee now. Paul Comfort. Hi, everyone. Welcome, Paul. Haven't heard from you in a while. Am I getting that right? Because when I don't hear from you for a while, I begin to forget. I think it's Wales, could be Ireland, and it could be Australia. That's the one. I think it's the one. Is there a kangaroo near you, Paul? Just tell me. Have you seen any kangaroos in the last month? Hmm. Um, Somebody new? Let's see here. I have so many glasses, and none of them are so great for this for the stream. Yes, Jack, it's Australia. I remember now, Paul. I had to jiggle me noggin. I had to jiggle me noggin a little bit. Um, but now I remember Richard Lyon bench presses 300 pounds. Um, oh, Bob is doing his, yeah, Bob is not a believer, and he's usually pretty respectful about it. So I think that'll be continue. I think we can count on that. Um, he's a musician since the age of 6, guitarist and singer. My ears are very good. Well, anytime you go into a studio, David Staten, you're going to do your best work. If you're in a praise and worship service and you're trying to play piano at the same time as you do the vocals, and things are going on around you that are kind of distracting you, it's not going to be as kind of a performance like if you're going in to do a CD and you're standing in front of a microphone that may have vocal enhancement on it. I'm not saying it does, not saying it doesn't. And so it's going to be a whole different thing. Many kangaroos, Jack, really? So, can you walk up to a kangaroo? I mean, they're usually not going to be standing right next to you. They'll be in some kind of a cage or something, right? But if you go to a wild kangaroo, will they kick you? If you just go and say, "Hey, what's going on? I'd like to hand you this ice cream cone." What will happen then? There was somebody else I think new I might have missed. Um, here's someone right here. Moname. Moname. I haven't been to Benton yet. However, I kind of like the Beatles. No, however, I have breathed Elvis since I was 7 years old. I have seen and heard impersonators. This is the only man that I even give a second, third look and listen to. Yes, many people have said similar things. Dick Van Dyke is in his 90s. Almost he's going to hit 100. I mean, he's going to hit 99 before he hits that, of course. 98 years old. He can still dance a little bit and get around. He did drive through a fence in his car, though, and hit his head on the steering wheel because the airbag did not deploy. But he recovered quickly. He recovered quickly, and he does go to the gym with his considerably younger wife. He does. So it is possible. Engelbert Humperdinck is 87 years old and is still touring, still playing Atlantic City and Vegas and things like that. Paul's near the freeway. Well, I hope you're not thinking of doing something bad there, Paul. Um, Brandon Bennett is my favorite Elvis tribute artist. I think Belinda is really Margaret. And I haven't heard of him. He's probably on YouTube, right? He must have something here. And um, yeah, I have seen some good ones myself, but it's been a while. Richard Lyon says 300 pounds at any age is difficult. Task jumping or a little jittery at 89 is not hard. Bob 1974, guess we differ. Well, here's the deal, I know from past experience, talking about the subject a little bit is fine, but when it becomes a mission, then I will start to hear from people saying, you got to block that guy because he's taking away the fun atmosphere. I'm not saying that's you, Bob 1974. It's going by too fast for me to always get it, but I don't think you've done that before, and I don't think you're going to start. But um, you're not going to prove your point here, probably. It's like me going to Golden Corral and trying to do a seminar on overeating. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. The top five Elvis impersonators, the best ones. You've got that list, and Brandon is one of them. Okay. Brandon is one of them. Yeah, I've always known you to be respectful. It just is something that happened a while back when it became like a couple of people that were on a mission, on a mission to, I mean, you should be able to go a show and not, you know, and not say it. They were starting to say it all the time. And then I got the thing like, it's just they're why don't you block them? Why don't you block them? That kind of thing. I try not to block people in the comments. Some people, are even if they're trolls, it depends what they say, because trolls can be good for business, and people disagreeing is part of life. Well, here she is, Shell, and she's talking to Brenda. Yeah, got to have a passport by May of next year, I believe. May of next year, or you won't be able to get on a plane even to go, locally, to go from, say, New York to Cincinnati. You're going to need you either have to have a passport for that or an enhanced driver's ID, which is the same thing, same documentation that I can see that you gave them when you first got your driver's license. Things like a birth certificate and a bill with your name and address on it and all that kind of thing. It just seems like another way to make money, another way to make money. Your driver's license has always been good, but some person sat in a boardroom once and said, why don't we do an enhanced uh, driver's license and an enhanced ID, and kind of make them go through the process? Hopefully they won't want you to do the road test again. Don't want that. So there's some discussion about, I assume, the pastor from Benton. Um, and I'm just looking to see if there's any. Ray Stevens. Yeah, I love Ray Stevens. Um, One of his more serious biting songs was Mr. Businessman. Check that song out. After Everything is Beautiful, I think it was after that he released Mr. Businessman, a biting critique of the business world. Well, hello, someone new. Ruben. Ruben. Elvis Presley placed third when he participated in a competition when he was assigned somewhere in Germany. That's almost unbelievable, Ruben, because he was Elvis and they knew it, you know? So I've never heard that story. Patty with an but welcome, by the way, Ruben. I don't know where you're from, but welcome. Worldwide Ramblings here. I don't know if you're a first timer, but I don't think we've had a Ruben here, but I've certainly had one at our local diner that has now been sold. Um, Greatest waitress in the world, Carmen, is still there, though, but she's working too many hours and she just needs to slow down. But Guatemalans bought my local Greek diner. And they brought two pizza places that are well known as well. My whole city now, the people that own the businesses originally, almost all of them except for the gang at Brother Bruno's, it has sold and said enough is enough is enough. When you work in food service, you're working too many hours, too many hours. Um, I researched just in case. Oh, one of my competition. Yes. Hello, just in case. Justin, if you happen to ever watch me, you guys are all in the shadows. Who knows who you really are? You don't put your face, you don't put your mug in there. So I'm the only one stupid enough to do that, I suppose. Someone wanted me to play something that Justin had used. And I said, well, Justin is kind of my one of my competitors, and he doesn't own what he put up, and I wouldn't own it either. But he just put that up, and I don't want to make it look like I'm, you know, taking what Justin has put up. You would hope people would have some kind of etiquette like that. But some of the other suggestions that same person gave me are wonderful, and they're coming up. A couple of them are coming up in the next installment of the uh, reasons why Elvis, whatever I call it, may have faked his death. That'll be part two, should be released Friday. Priscilla will be heavily involved in that one, and we'll see. Um, Yeah. Um, yeah. What'll happen is when someone disagrees with who Elvis is, you don't ever change any opinions, and so it just goes round and round, like that song by Rat, R-A-T-T. Remember that song? Round and round, one hit from Rat that I know of. If they had any more, I had stopped listening to the newer music. I stopped in about 1988 for the most part. Deweyville, Texas here. Yeah, Deweyville, that's Margaret, also known as Belinda, also known as Copernicus. You're from the Philippines. Well, cool. Following your page, my page, huh? Well, this is not a YouTube group, you know. I mean, this is not a Facebook group, but we are a YouTube channel. Yeah. And my doctor of many years, Dr. Gapay, Gapay. Some people would think it was Gapay, but Dr. Gapay from the Philippines has been my doctor here in the Hudson Valley for 35 years or so. Someone told me he's now 80. I can't believe it. He doesn't look that. He's doing great. His wife passed away. But yeah, I have known several people from the Philippines in my time. Excuse me. Time here in New York. I also lived in California for a while and South Carolina as well. So welcome, Ruben. Really glad you're here. Do you like the Philippines? Is it safe there? What's going on in the Philippines? Tell us. Um, yes. So now you're kind of like, you know what you're on, Bob 1974. You're like on that Fox show Outnumbered. You're the one guy and the rest are ladies. But at least um, they tend to usually have, there'll be one person outnumbered that usually could be a liberal Democrat, but the rest are all conservative. So outnumbered is really against the liberal Democrat because, hey, go on MSNBC or go on CNN if you're a liberal Democrat. I am sick to death of Jessica Tarlov on the Five. I like to watch that show from time to time, but give me Harold. You know, he's an old school Democrat who he'll say things I disagree with, but he says them in such a gentlemanly, respectful way. And it's not just because, oh, it's a woman. I'm not saying that. Candace Owens is a woman, and I agree with her most times, but she's certainly had her share of controversy. She separated from the Daily Wire that that Ben Shapiro has a major stake in, and she's going to be doing something on a website. But I think there's more to it. There's more to it. Maybe she'll show up. I would think there's a good chance you'll see her on TCN, the Tucker Carlson Network stream that you can buy, or you can see clips of it here on YouTube. Tucker Carlson is, he's definitely hired some people to make him much more visible on YouTube and things like that, because that's what you got to do. You're always putting up promos with dramatic headlines. It's a fight to get views. And of course, Tucker has a built-in audience, but there's so many. Mr. Rubin is out there. Um, the Rubin Report, spelled differently than you, I believe, Rubin, and Rubin, I believe. And you know, there's everybody. There's of course the dean of it, um, Joe Rogan. Thank God I got that, Joe Rogan. And there's um, there's the guy who was on the Man Show, Adam Adam Carolla. He was on there with Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel used to be a whole lot funnier then than he is now, because he's just sold out to, you know, the progressive nut jobs. Um, and I'm just checking the stream here. I think you've made your point, Bob, 1974. I can see where this is going. So, it's impossible. It's like me going on to Taylor Swift's fan page, one of her many bazillion fan groups, and saying, "Well, I think she sucks." It's never going to work for me. It's never going to work for me. Um, the 12 seasons of upstate New York. Karen posted this, and I wanted to present this to you because it's so true. It's so true. The 12 seasons of upstate New York. Winter, yeah, we've been through that. Full spring, just had that. It was late February into early March, and I was wearing shorts sometimes. I was saying, "Oh, see, it's gonna be good from now on. We'll have a couple of winter days. Could even have some snow, but it'll be in and out. Like if on Monday it's bad and cold again, and I gotta even put on long pants again. By Wednesday, Thursday, I'm fooling myself here. Full spring. Uh, that won't be the case. Well, by the time my birthday got here on the 21st, winter, spring was welcomed by the return to winter. You couldn't deny it. You couldn't deny it because full spring is followed by the second winter here in upstate New York. Not so much in the city. They get some. It's a little warmer there. Um, and so we had the second winter, and now I think we might be in the spring of deception. It's starting to warm up again. It's 48 degrees right now, which is not bad at all for this hour of the night. Um, and I was able to wear shorts most of this week. Um, but spring of deception, which I may be living in, like I'm in the twilight zone, can easily become the third winter. The third winter. And I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that we don't get the third winter. Sometimes we don't, but it can be cold into May sometimes. There have been May days that were cold here. Um, then after the third winter, the pollinating starts. You get optimistic, but all of a sudden your car is covered in pollen dust. And the potholes just seem to spring forth in a way that they never did. You're trying to avoid them as you drive because all of a sudden there's more potholes than you saw in quite a long time. That's followed by actual spring in the Hudson Valley here. Magical, magical. You don't want to be in Florida then. The trees are budding, all the birds are happy, the deer are in the backyard, the brook is flowing, and even if it's a rain, it smells so nice, and you're out there now, and you're doing your walking, maybe you're doing your jogging, and it's just oh, it's you're out there in the gazebo for us, or just enjoying the beautiful weather and getting excited about all the summer concerts, the outdoor concerts that are coming, and hoping it doesn't rain for them and what have you. Actual spring here in the Hudson Valley is just wonderful. And that dovetails into summer. And in the early part of the summer, here in the Hudson Valley again, it may be magical. It may be, 70s, maybe 80 or so, but not too bad. And then they don't specify this as a separate category. Your moderate temperature summer suddenly turns into Miami, Florida. It did last summer. You got the air conditioner pumping. You're out there because I want to be out there, but I'll tell you, it's getting awfully hot. It's getting awfully hot, and Karen will be saying it the first notice of it. Oh, it's hot, and she'll put that on Facebook. So summer can dovetail in. Especially as it gets into July, into August, it can be frightfully humid and hot. It probably hotter than it used to be, but we still have incredible cold and all those things. That will lead as early September, or at least periods of what they call in the 12 seasons of upstate New York is hell's front porch. I'll tell you, you're going to have to look at everything on that porch and what do I have to put on the floor? What do I just have to bring in the house? Because the ferocious winds are starting to blow. And at night, 11 o'clock at night, the windows are chattering and you're thinking, oh, the temperatures are dropping, but it won't be a consistent thing by any means. Don't worry. You've got more warm weather coming. Um, and that leads into, got to read my own writing here. Uh, Fool's Fall. Fool's Fall. You think it's fall, and so you're thinking pumpkin spice latte if you should be into such a thing, or you're thinking all the fall festivals and stuff. Um, but uh, l- Look out because here comes the Indian summer, the second summer in the 12 seasons of upstate New York. And then actual fall comes. And every day you realize an actual fall. The leaves are starting to fall, especially by November. They're starting to fall. And now it begins to occur to you that you're going to go back to winter and the cold times, because cold happens in all three of the four seasons, and occasionally it can happen in the summer, but 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 cold, uh, unattractive weather, shall we say, can happen in winter, spring, and fall, and you realize you just got that chunk of summertime. And before you know it, the decline will start. And it'll start in September and it'll go all the way into possibly April or May. So the 12 seasons right there. Sammy talking about the two Bob Joyce theory, that one may be 89 years old and one may be 71 years old. Somebody told me an interesting story. Who was that now? I can't remember, but they were telling me that they were in Little Rock, Arkansas, and they there was someone that had their back to them. They were at a cafe, a restaurant in Little Rock, Arkansas, not that long ago, and there was a gentleman with the white hair and the beard, with his back to him, and he was with a few other guys, buddies, having lunch. And when he got up, he just caught a glimpse of him. Uh, and he wasn't sure. He asked somebody in the restaurant, "Is that Pastor Bob Joyce?" He said, "Yeah, that's him. That's him. This is in Little Rock, Arkansas." And it got me to thinking. It got me to thinking that we all wondered, those of us that believe in the two Bob Joyce theory, we all wondered where Robert Wayne Joyce was. And it would make sense if he moved to Little Rock, Arkansas, where he first lived when he came to Arkansas to begin with, from the state of Texas. This is what it seems like. And so maybe Robert Wayne Joyce lives in Little Rock, Arkansas. I've never heard of Pastor Bob riding a motorcycle, but I think Robert Wayne was, and he would be about 71 years old if we have everything, all our ducks lined up correctly. And you never know for sure. We speak of possibilities. I could be wrong, but I thought, wouldn't that be a hoot? Okay, where's Robert Wayne Joyce? He's in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's not to say he never comes to Benton, but he lives in Little Rock, Arkansas, and that may be who that gentleman saw. He saw Pastor Bob Joyce, but the retired pastor. Is that a possibility? Because many people have talked about that. The retired pastor who lives in Little Rock, where his daughter lives. There you go. Just possibilities, just meandering. Who knows? Um, well, they're sort of right beside each other, Jeannie. But believe me, I found out how much how many miles because I was going to have to fly into Little Rock Airport, and if I had to certainly if I had to Uber it's what, at least 45 miles or more. So it's a good throws down the road, you know. And if I had someone pick me up there from the church and then they didn't like me anymore after a while, and I had to take, I'd have to try to take a bus to the airport or something like that because a taxi would be too expensive. So yeah. Well, Bob, see, you should know that. If you watch this channel and you watch the videos, you should know which one is Elvis. This should be easy to you. It wouldn't be the 71-year-old, it would be the 89-year-old, the man who pastors that household of faith every day, you know? Um, I've told, watch the verdict, you know, watch the verdict. I kind of tell the story there, but you don't have to believe it. I don't mind. Um, uh, you can't really, there's so many components to this story. You really can't rehash it in a live stream. So that's why I do these videos, you know, but you don't have to believe that. Um, uh, yeah. And you also don't have to come to conclusions, or you can come to a conclusion that's the opposite. But if you haven't done a thorough examination of the topic, then you're going to be speaking from a vantage point of ignorance because there's a lot of things you don't know about. There's a lot of things you don't know about. However, after a thorough examination of the topic, if you come up with the opinion that the pastor in Benton is not Elvis, that's fine. That's fine. Whoa, I knocked my phone down, but don't worry, the floor is carpeted. The floor is carpeted. No, and that's par for the course. It's just again, um, my hope is that we don't want to make this a weekly battle, because that's when people say, "Put a stop to it, Jack." I know this from experience. So maybe move on to another point, Bob 1974. That would be good. Redneck Ways. Hello, Jack. Hi. How are you? Where are you again, Redneck Ways? I forgot where you have your chapeau, where you hang your hat. Do you even have a hat, Redneck Ways? And what does it say on your hat? If it says something bad, don't tell me. But if it says MAGA, that's fine. um, yeah. Looking to see if I have missed anyone. Teresa is still with us. Brenda, of course. And let's see, we have 83 watching. Hi, everybody. Glad to have you here. Please watch our new series on Elvis with lots of rolling video. This is the Bixby investigation, part one of that. I'll probably do more of that later on. But next show, we're going to talk a little bit about Priscilla. And, this is moving pretty fast. Yeah, I don't know, Bob 1974 about the Monty Nicholson book. People are saying they have a hard time to find it. Apparently, it was a very hard time when it first came out. These guys in suits were coming in and buying up the book, and the same thing happened to Gail Brewer Giorgio, and because she wrote a book on Orion as well. Gail did. So there's so much out there, so much information. Remember, this book that you're talking about is from like 1991. So it's been out there for a long time. If you can't find it on Amazon and you can't find it on eBay, those would be my first two go-to places. Then you can try your local library. You can go to your local library and they may say, well, we don't have a copy, but the library 40 miles down the road does. So we'll send for that and it'll be here on Thursday. That's another way to get a book. Hope that was helpful. Dora says she really liked part one of our new Elvis story. Uh, I wish I could think of the exact way I phrased the title. Reasons why Elvis may have faked his death, Part 1, the Bixby investigation. Plenty more to come. I hope that we'll be able to dovetail into a Zoom interview on this topic or two, which would probably would be pre-recorded. Because one of the things when you're doing an interview like that, um, and you don't really know your guests through and through, um, if something was just too outrageous that was said, you would say to the guest, "Well, I can't put that in. Is that all right with you? Because I can't air that part." And they would either say yes or no and go from there. Yes, you have to get your birth certificate. I had to get my birth certificate again. I was able to send for it. Karen is kind of the person who helps me with all that stuff. Um, Hope you and Karen are doing well, says Mary. And yeah, we are. Karen still has her pain issues and what have you. She's going to have an MRI right after we get back from Poco weekend, I think on the 18th. And, because there has been some talk of lower back surgery, but boy, that's not something she would rush into. I don't know if any of you have had lower back surgery. She had surgery to replace and strengthen her upper back, needed to be done. Um, so we'll see. We'll take it one step at a time. Hi, Bianca. Greetings from the Netherlands. My goodness. Now, I had someone from the Netherlands on the Friday afternoon impromptu live show. When we come on just, you know, randomly, we usually call it pop on to pop off. You can see all these shows right here at the Virtual Church of the Disillusioned. Just click on the live section. And this program right here will be available as soon as we're done. You'll be able to watch the replay. Hello, replay crowd. Glad you're out there. I need you so badly. 83 watching and 71 have hit the like button. So, Bob had a spinal fusion. Well, I'm glad we're talking about something else. He had a spinal fusion. Would that be considered a spinal tap? Um, it's a big job, yeah. So, um, are you glad you did it, Bob, or are you still in pain after you did it? Um, what are your thoughts? I hope it worked out for you. Margaret's naming her snakes Elvis. I don't know why, but then again, I've never been able to figure Margaret out for at least 30 years now, even though we met just like months ago or, met here. I had lower back surgery, says Mary, in 1997, and they wanted me to get another one done. Right where I had the first one, it was awful pain. So was that pain relieved, Mary? How are you now? Would you have had the first back surgery if you were to have another opportunity to say no, yay or nay on the first one? How do you feel about that now? Nope. So it really didn't relieve your pain. Did it make it worse? Did it make your situation worse? Jack, if you and Karen didn't live so far away, you're welcome to have dinner with my family. That's very nice, Brenda. Thank you. We're going to get on the road to Maine today, so move to Maine and maybe we can make it happen. As I have been lamenting, Richard, we really want to go to Los Angeles for the Dark Shadows Remembrance, they're calling it. It's in Burbank on the 5th and 6th of July. What an expensive proposition, Richard. I'd need to have your dough to do it, Now, Richard's a working man. That surprised me, Not everybody is like, a mega millionaire, I guess, in that area. Richard's a hardworking man. So cool. Somebody's got to be, right? It's a unique name. He's my little hound dog. Trouble, too, with a capital T that rhymes with C. Oh, yes. I'm not really a dog person to it's like, people have grandchildren and they have a great time with them, then they hand back the grandchild. But you and I know what happens a lot is that if it's a working um, daughter, um, they want you to kind of start all over again and become the full-time babysitter. um, People that were going to move somewhere else are now stuck where they're really ready to move on from. And okay, they want to go on vacation, but they're working 5 days a week, maybe 9, 10 hours a day with their grandchildren. And you say, well, it's not work if it's their grandchildren. It depends on your perspective. I know other people that, that spend a lot of time with their grandkids, and you want that, and their kids, they're grown kids. But when it comes time for their vacation, they're bird watchers and stuff. They go far off to watch birds. I mean, I'm talking about many different countries. Australia was the last one they were in, and they've gone to South Africa and everything. And when it's time for those vacations, they're going. So you can't have us as a full-time babysitter. I'm sorry, but this is our chunk of time now. There's no fifth quarter. Some people will agree with that, and some people won't. Pomeranians, they're cute little dogs. They are. Hi, Jack. Just joining the show. I'm glad you're here, Sandra Farrar. Just joining the show. I look forward to being here with you and the gang each week, and we're glad to have you. Let me see, what part of the globe are you on, Sandra? It's so hard to keep in my aging head, my aging head. Um, we named our Pomeranian Tebow after Tim Tebow. So you're saying that your Pomeranian has a lot of promise, but then doesn't always deliver, huh? Is that what you're saying, Richard? You thought he was going to be a great dog, but he just doesn't quite perform like you thought he would. Hmm. Saw Tim Tebow when I was in Port St. Lucie at Met Stadium there at their spring training, uh, playing St. Louis. Tim Tebow. I don't know if he made the team that year. He didn't make the Mets that year, but he was in. He was doing the spring games, and then we saw Jimmy Sturr, the Polka King, at the Polish Club. Didn't get to do that this year in Port St. Lucie, and then. As we're driving back home, my buddy and I, it's not Karen, we're driving back home. I heard the word in 2020, I heard the word COVID-19 for the first time. Oy, oy. So there was no Jimmy Sturr show in 2021, but he came back in 2022. Um, Peace in the Valley, Peace, not a piece of pie, Brenda. I'd like a piece of pie tomorrow. It's going to be cherry pie because I already bought it and Karen already baked it. We're not going the homemade route this year, so it's actually a Mrs. Smith's. Good enough. Yeah, good enough. We're having spiral ham and mashed taters and spinach and sweet taters and that kind of thing. So I will be eating good for a while there. Then I'll get real sick of ham because I try to not eat that much of that kind of stuff. I always think of the person who said to me, and I know just who it was. It was Jean Wright, not Betty Wright, not Judy Wright. We have another Wright here too, all with a W, of course, who said to me that ham is the closest thing, or pork in general, or was it ham? Ham, cured ham, is the closest thing to human flesh, and that always stuck with me. And I was going to ask Hannibal Lecter what human flesh actually tastes like. And I would have thought he would have said, they always say it tastes like chicken, but he would have said it tastes like a spiral ham, just like the one you're going to have for Easter. There you go. You have two big hams. You're hamming it up there, Brenda. I can tell. What is yuck eating eating ham in general, or the fact that it may be similar to human flesh? What, you're not, you're, you've never eaten another human being? That was a dramatic pause, Richard. Oh dear, we'll get away from that real quick on Holy Saturday, right? Yes, I think we should. United we stand, divided we fall, shell from Canada. And if our backs are ever up against the wall, we'll be together, together. Okay. There's nowhere in the world that I would rather be than with you, my love. And then the guy comes in, and there's nothing in the world, can't get it, that I could ever say. I don't know. I know that song, a one-hit wonder from the Brotherhood of Man. United we stand, divided we fall. Yes, yes, yes. I love that song. I love many of the songs in 69 and 68. That's my era. So, yeah, I know that song. That didn't work out too well, did it? The United we stand. It's kind of like give peace a chance, you know? Seems like we've fallen short of our goal. Happy Easter, everyone. Going to sunrise service in the morning. Okay, Mary, thank you for dropping by. Be blessed during that time. Be blessed. He rises tomorrow. He is risen. And I've told that pastor, the pastor from Los Angeles, said his name a bazillion times, and I can't come up with it. E.V. Hill. E.V. Hill. The first time my wife, the mother of my children, felt my son move in her stomach was during a TBN Trinity Broadcasting rally in Poughkeepsie at Faith Assembly of God, being broadcast all around the world with Paul and Jan Crouch right there. And E.V. Hill was preaching, and she felt Corey move in her stomach for the first time. And one of E.V. Hill's when it got close to Easter, he would use this. He would say, um, "We don't have a sunrise service in my church. We don't have one. He is risen. He is risen. That means he's not there. He's not there. And if he's not there, no reason for me to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning." The great E.V. Hill. He's alive. I wish I could play that song by Don Francisco. I may try it in a pre-recorded video because it's not a major label. Maybe they'll let it happen, but at least this way I won't be trying to sneak up on it, which never works anyway. They'll decide whether they're going to allow it. If they say they'll allow it but not monetize it, that is fine and dandy with me. I don't want the money. I just want to play that song for everybody because it is a great one. Another great one is the Easter song from the late Keith Green. Beautiful, beautiful Easter song. Check it out. Paul Comfort says no music service from Bob's church for 3 weeks now. Is it 3 weeks? Yeah, I thought when someone said 2 that it's more like 3. As Paul's in Australia with the kangaroos, who have a built-in pocketbook. How convenient. I mean, even the male kangaroos have a built-in pocketbook, so if they should be gay, they can, that they can kind of be in the closet if they want to be and still have a pocketbook. You know what I mean? Why I say these things, Paul, I do not know. But as I said before, the only thing I heard was there's a man named Randy who is responsible for that area of the editing because they don't put the whole thing on. If Pastor wants something out, they take it out. And that he has, for some reason, not been able to do it. Stacy does the editing and prepares. I believe she does anyway. She records the message. So I don't know. I don't know. Happy Easter, Bianca. Thank you so much. I hope if you can't stay with us, that you'll be back again. Just don't know. Yeah, I'm going to try that, Janet Williams. I'll try that maybe even when we are done tonight. But I don't know. It's all up to YouTube, whether they will allow me to put it on or not. Um, it is so beautiful. It is. Gail George. Hi, Gail. Welcome, welcome, welcome to you. 93 watching right now. If you haven't checked in yet, please do. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. Hit the like button if you can. Helps us be seen by more people already. We've been on coming up on in 10 seconds, an hour and a half, and that's cool. Please watch the new video series that has begun on Elvis Presley. We're going to present a lot of different facts, a lot of foundation, kind of a prequel to who Pastor Bob. Oops. We edit that out, Richard? Can you edit that out? Who Elvis may have become at some future point. See, when I'm pre-recorded, I would just stop at that point and redo the whole thing. I'm not one of these people that tries to edit out a sentence. I'm way too technologically impaired for that. I don't know about you, William Brown. If you're a tech guy, are you a techie, William? I've heard why Pastor Bob Joyce have stopped. You mean the music portion? Do you want to tell us, or do you not want to tell us? Do you feel it not good to tell us? It's in your court, Uptown William Brown. I'll put you in the Uptown bracket there. Okay, you're moving on up to the Uptown. Good night, Barbara. That's Barbara Kendall. Okay, Barbara. I'm glad that you stopped by. I really, really am. You're loyal, and I so appreciate that. Happy Resurrection Sunday, if you should be so inclined. And remember, during the week, we'll be doing a few afternoon pop on to pop off here and there, like 1:30 East Coast time, maybe, something like that. Hit the notification bell and you'll always know when we are on. You are a techie? Well, come live with, I've got another room next to me, but I have to warn you, this is an old house that seriously needs updating. And there's a guy downstairs and he was, I won't say any more, believe me. You'd rather live in Newark, New Jersey. Now, this is a very nice area and all that, but the house needs updating. So if you're a carpenter, come on over. But I need you dirt cheap. Hey, wait a minute. This is not my house. What am I doing? There are some people who have a problem with the way things are going on YouTube. Well, that's why I'm kind of taking a break from the topic, William, because I don't want to be part of that problem. I haven't taken videos down yet, except I took down the one that dealt with possible friction in the church. I took down a hot video, and since then I haven't had one that's been anywhere near that hot. By now it would have had about 18,000 views probably, but I still made the right call to do it. I still made the right call. I'm not trying to be an annoyance to anyone. I try to do the best video I can. This is what my audience wants. They're not going to accept me doing stock tips, for example, since it's pretty obvious that I'm not living in, a beautiful modern home. But I'm thankful for what I do have, and I'm thankful for Karen. I'm thankful for the blessings I have, and I'm trying real hard. But if I throw away the topic and never mention Elvis or take down all my work from the past, that's channel suicide. And, you always have to supplement that retirement. Most of the work I've done, I'm proud of, and you've heard my rap on this. I don't have to go through it every time. You've heard it before, haven't you, Brenda? Sandra Weber is here from Nashville. Well, that's cool. We know Caitlin, who lives in Nashville, and her guy, is his name Chip? I'm not sure. But she was on The Voice for 5 weeks, sang with Christina Aguilera in a duet. And she's down in Nashville now, and I'm hoping something big happens. She's right from here in the Hudson Valley. Um, so I don't know what's going on with the music services. I do not think you would want me to move in with you, but I could help with home projects. Yeah, I bet you a handyman. I mean, Andy, my tech guy who put together the latest part one of the latest Elvis series, which features video from the late great Bill Bixby. How I remembered how much I used to love Bill Bixby, how great it was to see him again, to introduce him to some people that have not seen the specials he did, to introduce him to some people and to do some commentary on it, which I think brings it alive more, is a real honor. To get people thinking about Bill Bixby again, and of course, I mentioned how we first saw him. If you're of a certain age that I am, was as Tim O'Hara in My Favorite Martian. That was the first time we all saw him, and then he did two Elvis movies, Clambake and Speedway, one in '67, one in '68. And then he soon went on to The Courtship of Eddie's Father with Brandon Cruz. By '77, he had his probably biggest TV role ever, and all his biggest roles were on TV. And of course, that was as Dr. David Banner, a scientist whose experiment went wrong, a widowed person, the Incredible Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, with Lou Ferrigno, co-starring Lou Ferrigno, the bodybuilder Hulk, that David would tune into when someone would get him upset. And I don't know if it was just for the TV show, but he always seemed to go into situations. He was a scientist. He wasn't a beat cop, you know, but he was always doing some kind of investigation. And so he was always in a position where he would get angry, and he would warn them. He would say, "Don't get me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry." But it always seemed to happen. And it meant that David Banner was going to have to keep getting new pairs of pants and shirts and what have you. It was kind of silly, but it was great at the same time. Sandra knows Kentucky. Does she know those Kentucky women? Does she know the cold Kentucky rain? Um, Nashville is about 1.5 hours from Benton, Kentucky. Uh huh. Yeah. Well, Caitlin doesn't know about my Elvis thing. I think I did tell X. We were at a summer party together for her sister's birthday, and Karen and I were invited. And I did tell Caitlin's guy about Bob Joyce. I wanted to know if he had heard of Pastor Bob Joyce, and he had not. He had not. Ah, yes. Don't want to miss a good comment here, but sometimes that happening happens. I was watching a service of Kim Clement and was moved and was healed of pain about 30 years ago. Divine. It's all I can tell you. Going to the doctor to provide an update. And his daughter will be at Hot Springs, Arkansas, the 10th of August. Gene Ho is putting this all together from George Magazine. And then on Sunday at the Hot Springs Convention Center, Pastor Bob Joyce will bring his service there and preach, and that'll be followed by a baptismal service that you must schedule in advance. Yeah, God moves in mysterious ways, is all I can say. Just thought I should say what prayer can do. Amen. I'll bring the hammer and the nails. Yeah, bring some fresh carpet, bring some drywall, bring some updated bathroom stuff, and there's about I don't know, $35,000 worth of work to be done, and of course we don't have the money for that. So just accept donations or something. Um, Jack, Hi, Martin. Jack, have you ever done a show about the songs done by those artists about Elvis? See, I'm always at a. If I'm going to do a show like that, Martin, I got to be able to play the track, like if I'm going to say Ronnie McDowell's, and I played this at the country station way back in the late 70s, saying the king is gone, and he's going to sing it sounding very much like Elvis Presley. um, I want to be able to then play the song. Otherwise, I'm cheating the audience. That's the downplay, Richard. I just wish I could play the music. I could do some great shows here if I could play the music, but even if I get a music license, it's going to wipe out my profits, and it's also going to block the show in a number of different countries. Like you're not going to see me in Australia, Paul, because I'm not going to have a music license for Australia. It'll be the UK, it'll be America, and one other country. Okay, William is going to begin a life of panhandling, which I think is very good. You might want to make it look like you only have one leg. They used that in an episode of Shameless. William H. Macy. It wasn't him that did that, but it was someone I just saw in a movie called The Caller, and I'm talking about Luis Guzman. Do people know who Luis Guzman is? He's 67 years old. First time I saw him, to be very honest, was in Boogie Nights with the serious Catholic now, Mark. Um, Mark. And he does all those Tunnel to Towers commercials now, and he does the Hollow Prayer app. Mark Wahlberg. I don't know what's wrong with me. Your daughter's getting baptized tomorrow, Sandra? Well, God bless her. How old is your daughter-in-law? She's not an infant, obviously, if she's your daughter-in-law, so she's making the right choice. You know, I was baptized as an infant, but when I became born again in 1984, I knew that baptism was a choice I had to make for the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't believe it's what gets you saved. It's something you do in obedience to the Lord. There's always a couple of scriptures, though, you could use, and I understand that. Thief on the cross was not baptized, and he was with the Lord in heaven that very day after requesting he be there, or requesting that the Lord remember him in his kingdom. But anyway, I knew that I had to make that choice, and so when I went to Howell's Church, where I served as a deacon, I was baptized again in the lake of the Tri-State Family Christian Center. I was. Yeah. Susan by the Buckinghams. So 79, we've lost some here. We've lost some, but I'm so grateful that so many have stopped by. So many have stopped by. So please watch our new series on Elvis Presley. It'll be ongoing. Reasons why Elvis may have faked his death. That's not the exact title. The Bixby investigation. We would welcome you to do that. And summer plans. Are you constructing your summer plans? Are you cutting back this year, or are you going to get out there? Or are you going to drive, or are you going to fly? I think a lot more people are driving these days. Hi, Ida. Welcome to Ida. And yeah, people are enjoying each other's company, and that's good. That's good. That's what we do here on Worldwide Ramblings, and some other things as well. I have the Gospel of John in front of me. As we approach Easter Sunday here on the East Coast, 2024. Beginning in chapter 19, they speak of the crucifixion, how the soldiers took charge of Jesus carrying his own cross. He went out to the place of the skull, which is Aramaic. It's called Golgotha. Here they crucified him, and with him two others, one on each side, and Jesus in the middle. And Jesus died slowly in agony. The soldiers were near him. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene, three Marys. When Jesus saw his mother there and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Dear woman, here is your son." And to the disciples, "Here is your mother." Roman Catholics get a lot from that verse right there. From then on, the disciples took her into the house. The death of Jesus, later knowing that all was now completed, and so that the scripture would be fulfilled, Jesus said, "I am thirsty." A jar of wine, vinegar, was there, so they soaked a sponge in it, put the sponge on a stick, on a stalk of the hyssop plant, and lifted it to Jesus' lips. When he had received the drink, Jesus says, "It is finished." Some of the most incredible words in the Bible that Jesus spoke. It is finished. With that, he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. No man killed him. He went of his own accord. He gave up his life for you and me. Chapter 20 talks about the early tomb. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. So she came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, and said, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him." So Peter and the other disciples started for the tomb. Both were running, but the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He bent over and looked in at the strips of linen lying there, but did not go in. Then Simon Peter, who was behind him, arrived and went into the tomb. He saw the strips of linen lying there, as well as the burial cloth that had been around Jesus' head. The cloth was folded up by itself, separate from the linen. Finally, the other disciple, who had reached the tomb first, also went inside. He saw and believed. They still did not understand from Scripture that Jesus had to rise from the dead. Then the disciples went back to their homes, but Mary stood outside the tomb crying. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb and saw two angels in white seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head and the other at the foot. They asked her, "Woman, why are you crying?" "They have taken my Lord away," she said, "and I don't know where they have put him." At this, she turned around. At this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not realize that it was Jesus. "Woman," he said, "why are you crying? Who is it that you are looking for?" Thinking he was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him, and I will get him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned toward him and cried out in Aramaic, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said, "Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet returned to the Father. Go instead to my brothers and tell them I am returning to my Father and your father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, "I have seen the Lord," and she told him that he has said these things to her. And as we go on, we see the encounter of the risen Christ with the disciples. Jesus appears to Thomas. Now, Thomas, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand onto his side, I will not believe." A week later, his disciples were in the house again, and Thomas was with them. Through the door, though the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood there and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here. See my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." Stop doubting and believe. Thomas said to him, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said, "Because you have seen, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." From the Gospel of John. Happy Resurrection Sunday, everyone. Have a blessed time. Remember, it's not about bunnies. That's okay for the little children and what have you. It's all right to have a little chocolate, but our entire faith is based on the risen Christ. If he be not risen, if he be not risen, our faith is in vain. So remember our new series. We'll do some pop on to pop offs in the during the week. Hit the notification bell so you know when we're coming on. Subscribe and like if you are so inclined. And I will talk to you again real soon. When you hit the notification bell, you also know about our pre-recorded videos. See if I can get that song from Don Francisco on. He's alive. It's a great song. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching for Worldwide Ramblings. The replay will be available here. Hello, replay crowd. It'll be available in the live section of this channel, the virtual church of the disillusioned. Goodbye for now. Thanks for watching.